Welcome back to the Recon Reviewers.
Today we were reviewing Airplane from 1980. This is not a family-friendly comedy.
Wow, look at all the dust. They must have used some transparencies.
Yeah, you could see it fade. Right out the gate, it just comes up with a joke.
A huge movie at the time.
Very nice reference how they have this to Jaws. Very, very interesting.
I've seen this movie a few times through the years. It's always a joy to come back to.
An X-ray. Keys.
Well, there you go.
Arm. A leg. Movies always reflect their own time period, between their own jokes to political views.
Yeah.
The Zucker brothers and Jim Abrams.
Hey Larry, where's the forklift? Forklift! It's over there where the bag is loaded.
They actually built a huge model to go through this entire set.
No kidding.
They did.
It looks pretty real. And for a movie made in the 80s, that would make sense. There really wasn't much CGI back then.
Yeah, they actually had to go make a real life-size model about the nose of the plane.
Don't you feel anything for me at all anymore?
This part sets up the romance plot line between these two characters.
And I can't live with the man I don't respect.
It's pretty good.
The Mayo Clinic is actually a real-life heart hospital, and yet they have big tubs of mayonnaise in the back on the shelf. A lot of friends of mine honestly thought that the whole tubs of mayo were actually part of the hospital for some reason.
Right.
Don't ask me why.
When I was a kid, I probably thought that.
All right, give me ham on 5, hold the mail.
We're not even 10 minutes into the movie, and the joke consistency is very close together.
Some of the jokes you have to think about, some of them are somewhat sophisticated or hidden, which adds to the value of re-watching these movies for sure.
We have a guy who's washing the windows, checking the oil like it was a car. We basically have jokes within jokes. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, real-life basketball player.
Pretty awesome.
The amount of gas he's getting charged for has got to be ghastly.
Can you tell me if Elaine...
You know, what's kind of fun about watching these older movies is the technology, like with that credit card slider.
Yeah.
I remember using those.
Smoking or non-smoking?
Smoking, please.
Back then you could smoke on a plane, but here you actually have a smoking ticket.
Shit, man. That hunky must be messing
Here they're
my
actually
head.
speaking
Got to be running a hole
jive.
upside down his head, you know? Hey, oh my
Translation's just as
God. No, you
funny.
don't let him up
Is
and
what
grab
they
up on
say.
It
you, man.
is.
Say, hey, Scott. So they say I won't see.
The jokes
Afraid
are
of jail, I
very
get the same old,
intelligent.
same old.
They're short, to the point.
Roger. Huh? We have clearance, Clarence.
Roger, Roger. What's our vector, Victor?
Roger, Victor, and over. In here you can just clearly see that it's just a model on a stick.
Still passes, though.
Boy's Life, an actual magazine. Nun's Life, nun surfing.
I was in the
Here's
Air
the
Force.
first hilarious flashback.
You could count on a fight breaking out almost every night.
Couple of Girl Scouts beating the crap over each other over a poker game.
They look like pretty real props.
They do. You can tell they're meant to break apart, but
I bet these
definitely...
stunt actors got some real cuts.
Yeah, and it just starts playing Staying Alive.
This movie may have came out in the 80s, but technically, it's a 70s movie.
It is, yeah. Well, 1980, I mean, like, you also have to imagine that this movie was in production during the late 70s.
Yeah, for sure.
Just jokes within jokes. Even the sound effects are very natural, almost cartoony. Here they're clearly picking on Saturday Night Fever, and here he is just dressed like John Travolta. I mean, clearly he's on strings, but this is funny.
The movie is called Airplane. You gotta throw it in there somehow.
It is. He definitely went flying.
You know, these movies were filmed and expected to be seen on shitty screens. Nowadays, in 4K, you can see the wires.
It can. This would never happen, but it's very funny.
It's another one of those scenes. Do you hire extras or stunt people? Do they wear wigs? Or do they literally get hit in the head? I mean, it wouldn't be that painful, but it's just things I think in the 70s or 80s they didn't really consider being a problem. But nowadays, you wouldn't have a shot like that.
Still impressive.
Sure, yeah, definitely.
This actress is actually singing and playing the guitar.
Find where it flows to the sea. There is only one river.
Oh no, it knocked out the tube. Oh god.
You a doctor?
And he's got the stethoscope in his ears.
It was certainly my favorite comedic actor growing up.
Like he's in surgery there, he gets handed the medical instruments.
I like this sleight of hand, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, you could see it right there.
Ooh, that's an interesting one. I understood the other tricks, but I didn't understand that one.
Yeah, how they actually had a bird in that eggshell. But basically everybody just starts falling very ill. This is very Marx Brothers style. Very fast, very clever.
I love the Marx Brothers.
And he's got professional basketball clothing on.
Well, we had a choice, steak or fish.
Yes, I remember. I had lasagna.
Only two choices, he somehow had the
There's two more
third.
sick people, and the rest of the passengers are worried.
Nothing to see here.
Not very professional. But that's really the whole point.
Yeah.
I like that, just the nice prop there.
Used to a quivering, wasted piece of jelly.
Just farts. The prop that they had for this is very nicely done. The simplicity of the props are definitely incredible.
How about some coffee, Johnny?
Is there anyone on board who can land this plane?
Rex with the drinking problem.
No one I know of.
And naturally you wouldn't say that on the aircraft.
How many times have I warned those people about food
You know if that's the actor from Unsolved Mysteries?
Robert Stack,
Nice.
the legend himself. He just walks right through the mirror. Very nice effect.
There's been a little problem in the cockpit.
The cockpit.
The stewardess said both pilots.
Can you fly this plane and land it?
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Here you see a very overextended cut of the controls.
Where the hell is Kramer?
And a picture of him in the background.
The risk of a flameout's too great.
The background work in this movie is very nicely put together. They
This
know
is certainly rear projection right now, but
Possible.
they know that it's bad.
They
so they
do.
have fun with it.
It's meant to,
You do?
it's meant to be intentional that way.
Yeah.
As you see in the background, it's the driving even faster and faster. You can tell they just sped up the video.
It's a good commentary on the limits of technology back then.
And what they could do back then.
Oh, for sure, too.
Literally has to fight everybody just to get to the control tower. Only other funny movie Robert Stack was in, where he played a comedic role, was 1941. Got foreground jokes, background jokes,
All right, Steve, let's face a few facts.
multiple sunglasses, references within references.
Took the wrong week to quit drinking.
Stryker, this is Captain Rex Kramer. It's a goddamn waste of time. There's no way you can land this plane. Have all yourself.
And he doesn't take his thumb off the walkie.
You're the only chance they've got.
It's a raunchy comedy that can actually be truly funny to its core.
All right, I'm going to level with you all. There's no reason to panic. But the other two pilots.
This
are
effect
just
was
fine.
actually where they just took a broomstick and pushed it further and further ahead of the camera.
But he's an experienced Air Force pilot approved.
One of them's holding an ice cream cone. And somehow in this amount of time, they were able to print out all these newspapers.
Yeah.
a guy jumping off a rock to try to fly. All of the ridiculous inventions that just never worked,
Right.
even on paper.
And they were probably free use, so they didn't have to get permission to use them in the movie.
Kramer hears about this, the shit's gonna...
Yeah.
Watch that oil temperature. What the hell's he
And
doing
shit
up
hit
there?
the fan.
Striker.
Pilot that hasn't flown for years could happen to any pilot.
I'd be better off with someone who'd never flown before. Remember who you're dealing with.
Yeah.
They're playing Atari, huh?
Yeah. While watching the radar. Ambulances, fire trucks, the Budweiser vehicle,
Pull the cord on the right side flat.
a rubber ducky.
Disco lives forever.
Until it doesn't.
Maybe we ought to turn on the searchlights now.
Oh. That's just what they'll be expecting us to do.
It's not the Normandy invasion, damn it.
Picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
First it was cigarettes, then it was alcohol, then it was methamphetamines, now it's glue. How did he ever get his job? And now he's on the ceiling. I like how they made that look realistic.
Yeah, it's a pretty good effect.
And the runway lights just go out. Johnny pulled the plug.
Lift your nose. Straight in ways. Coming in too fast. Watch your speed. He's coming right at us.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, nice. Lloyd Bridges, he's no longer with us. Peter Graves as well, he passed away. Leslie Nielsen passed away. Robert Stack passed away. Okay, so in summary, Airplane, it's one of the funniest movies ever made. By the National Film Society has actually named it as being not just one of the top 10 funniest movies of all time, but the funniest.
Oh, no kidding.
It's a movie that I would definitely have to stress for the viewers that this is not a family-friendly comedy. This is definitely one of the towards the raunchier comedy sets of movies.
Yeah.
But Airplane, compared to other raunchy comedies, this would actually happen to have much more intelligence, more jokes, more consistency. You had foreground humor that was just clear and present, and then you also had background humor, sometimes going on at the same time.
Yeah, there definitely are a lot of comedic events happening throughout the video, which make it much more enjoyable to watch over and over again.
The effects were very clean, they weren't over the top, and yet they weren't under the line.
Yeah, a lot of the practical effects were done very well, and the ones that the technology was lacking, they leaned into it to make it ridiculous, like the rear projection and the car chase or whatever. It just, it looked so silly, and they knew that it looked silly, so they leaned into it and made it even more silly.
At the time when this movie was being made, a lot of airplane disaster movies were being released, and it made a lot of sense that they were to come out with a movie in a parody of such. And even by today's standards, I feel it was well done. I'm not entirely convinced that all of the jokes would actually land to modern day viewers today, but I feel that by the majority it would actually flow very well.
Yeah, you're right that definitely some of those jokes do not have their place. But overall, it's a really fun time, and I suggest watching it a few times to catch all the jokes.
Thank you for watching Airplane with us.
Catch us on the next one.
Well, I'll give him another 20 minutes. But that's it.